Between December 1st and February 15th, 169 teachers from Philadelphia School District quit, 200% more than last year, reported the Philadelphia Inquirer. Out of nearly 200 districts, close to 97% reported teacher shortages in the current school year, reported the Tribune-Star. The 1%, why teachers are still here.
I stayed in teaching because I'm needed. I My first year of teaching, I worked at a school where there was a high teacher turnover, and the school didn't have the best reputation. So literally daily for maybe the first 2 months, um, students would ask me when I was leaving because so many teachers had left them. They would actually say to me, "Why are you here? You could get a better job somewhere else, a job that paid more, a job with easier kids, with less problems." And it broke my heart to hear that. And again, this wasn't once, this was every day. And if I was sick or if I, had to miss a day for personal reasons, they would say, "Oh, we thought you quit." And I just, it broke my heart. I wanted to be the person that was there for them and a good teacher and supportive of who they were.
Stay in education because I see the need for high quality teaching and equitable teaching to occur. And the cry now to me is as great as it's been since arguably before civil rights era, right? Before that came into play, because it's an attack on education, especially equity in education. So just felt that, and I didn't have a lot of men that looked like me growing up to teach. So that was definitely a reality that I wanted to make sure I stayed in education because I wanted to impact other young people that look like me. And so it's bigger than just being able to deliver a good lesson. It's being able to deliver a good life, right? So that's why I do it.
Well, I'm in the game this is my 50th year, so I've been in the game for a long time, and I've done a variety of different, I've had a variety of different positions in the field of education. And I think it goes back to impact, and it goes back to why. Again, equity, access, making sure that all students, like I'm one of those people that believes that all children can learn. And so I set about making sure that I hopefully offer that opportunity for the students that I serve when I taught at the alternative school and also taught, and then went back and taught first grade. So my whole purpose in doing that was to make sure that I had this whole and a complete package. And so the reason that I stay, going back to that, is because I still believe that I can still go out and model teach. I can still go out and I still have conversations with students when I go out, not my own teaching students, but students in the classroom when I go out. I still work with aspiring principals and what it is that I think that they could do. And so as long as I feel like I can still have that impact and my health is good, I'm doing it.
I knew that I wanted to work with children and I wanted to make a difference in them and their lives. And I also wanted to share my personal experiences, that I wanted to let them know that it's okay if they were not successful in certain areas as a child, because I'm one of them. And look, I turned out to be okay. So I wanted to help them in their journey and to be successful in their lives.
I really do like it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I was gonna do my 2 years for my transition to teaching program and use that time to figure out what I wanted to do. it was just kind of like in my head, I was like, well, this is a nice way to like get my master's, you know, get a lot of connections, like all this stuff, have a job, make money while I'm getting my master's, and then I can like figure it out along the way. It was kind of like delaying the inevitable. But I actually do really like it. I used to be a person that was like, I hate kids, and now I'm not that person. I love my kids. I like the grade level that I teach. So I think I've stayed with it because I actually do really love it. I think. And I love my kids too. So.
I think in some ways it's harder to explain why I've stayed in teaching. But I think, like a lot of people in the profession, it comes down to the kids themselves, that as a group, but also in terms of specific kids that I have relationships with, I get excited to see them every day. So that's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
I think I've continued to teach because while, at least at this point, the joy that I get from interacting with students and growing with them outweighs the downsides. I'm not sure that that will always outweigh, and burnout is real. But at this time, teaching is something that is my passion. I think that I'm good at it, but I'm not perfect. So there's always the ability to grow and to learn more. And I think that desire and that curiosity for myself, for wanting to be better, is something that can be contagious, and other students can see the things that they are curious about and want to continue in that. And so that potential and that opportunity that they have is what wakes me up in the morning, gets me up, and why I continue to be in the profession.
Another difficult thing about teaching in a slightly broader scale is because teachers care, because we love our kids, because most of us would do nearly anything for our students and would give so much of ourselves, money, time, effort, just mental power. We think about our students constantly. It doesn't turn off when we leave the school. Um, when admin takes advantage of that, when they use that to say, well, if you don't put in this much effort, then you don't care. That, whatever you're doing isn't enough because it's for the kids.
But like last year, I had my appendix removed and I didn't take any time off. And then when I asked for somebody, because like I like popped a stitch in class, and I was like, can I have somebody cover me like every 20 minutes or something so I can just like sit down and not have to manage the classroom? And it was like, we don't have enough warm bodies for that. And I was like, my health is deteriorating.
How are you doing today? I would love to be asked that. How are you doing today? It's so easy to pass a peer or friend in the hallway. Hey, how are you? I'm fine. We just say fine. It's okay. But when you genuinely take the time to ask someone, how are you doing today? And how can I support you today? That just, it's a good feeling because you know someone has your back and someone knows and understands what you're going through. And so therefore, it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to carry that stress, burden, because someone has your back and someone's going to be there to support you and help you alleviate that.
I think that teachers aren't asked about the nitty-gritty of the profession. A lot of times we're asked, how's teaching going? How's it been going through the pandemic? And it doesn't give us a pathway to have a real conversation, because all we can say is it's good or it's fine, it's hard, but I'll be okay. But I think it would be so beneficial to just be asked by more people, like, hey, how are you actually doing with teaching? Is there anything that I can help you with? Can I come in and help you with your classroom? Or can I just be a listener for you? I think that would be really, really big. Sharing the highs and the lows with someone who doesn't teach.
How this whole thing is impacting, how this whole past 2 years, I mean, it was happening before then, to be sure, but specifically these past 2 years, 2.5 years now, how this has drained the emotional vigor and vitality of so many teachers. I mean, when you look at the way teachers, the attrition rate is happening within the teaching profession, it's unfortunate. And I don't think we're asking enough questions or asking the right questions. And it may not even be that we're not even asking the right questions. Are we asking the questions consistently? So are we really following up? Are we putting structures and systems in place to make sure that our teachers aren't falling through the cracks? I think those are the questions we need to be asked more consistently.
I think, again, they are not asked how they're doing. There's a body of work out there right now, that when people are looking at the reason why it is that they are leaving the profession, one of the reasons is that, they don't feel that they are cared for. Cared for isn't about the money. Cared for is about listening. Care for is about your emotional needs. It's the body of work out there right now is about social emotional learning for teachers. And frankly, 3 years ago when we first started this process, Dr. Woodard and A.D. Williams and some other people put together this whole idea of TLC. And I knew then, and then COVID hit, but I knew then if we could ever get that off the board, that was something that could really go. And I would say to you that now out in the work, there are lots of people who are going to make a lot of money because that whole idea of how we might want to creatively take care of teachers and in looking at what we might be able to offer them, whether it's the structure of the day, whether it is yoga at their schools, whether it I don't even know, asking them what they want to do, asking them how they feel and how they might be cared for, might be a good place to start. If I were a building principal, I would be doing that because it's so important.
My principal and vice principal and humanities director, they have given me the freedom to be able to teach what I need to teach in fun and creative ways, in the ways that kids actually engage with the content material. So example, my final for this semester, it's not a paper final. It's a final that kids actually engage with the content material. So we go through 8 units this semester, and I make this very detailed rubric, and I make must-have questions for each unit. They work in groups of 4, and they have to hit all of those must-have questions, but part of the rubric is they also need to add in some of their own information to that. A big part of the rubric is creativity. So I'm teaching them to use creativity while I'm also learning how to use it as well. So each group has to do something different from the other group. So last year I had kids make an anime project on what they've learned in semester 2. I had kids do a Jeopardy game. Kids did a Kahoot. One group did a puppet show, and it was the coolest thing ever. Like, they literally used socks to make a puppet show to explain what they learned from the Reconstruction era to the 1970s, and I have never been more proud in my life. So creativity is really big within teaching, and it really helps me stay grounded.
I really, um, I really prize having creativity and freedom in my teaching. When I first started teaching, I think as a new teacher, I wanted a lot of structure. I just wanted someone to tell me how to do it. Just what do I do? A, B, C in order. But as I have continued in my educational path, I almost view teaching as an art form, and I like to bring out my creative side in lesson planning and the ways that I instruct. I'm able to see that students are understanding certain things in a certain way, and I can regroup in my mind and with my co-teacher and think about ways that we can make it more comprehensible and more engaging for them. So I like when a admin or someone in leadership has that understanding that a teacher is a professional with a lot of ideas, a lot of um, ways that they want to engage students and be creative, and allows them to have more of a loose grip on them, not so specific with their stipulations, but allows the teacher really to make the classroom their own and make the classroom for each individual group of students a unique experience.
I think it's going to be a big question in my life going forward. Like, am I going to be a career teacher? Am I going to be able to keep this up until retirement age? Am I going to find a school environment where I feel like valued and that it is giving as much as it takes? Like, I think all of those variables concern me as I look at the future trajectory of my life. And I think it's really hard in teaching right now that a lot of people are fleeing the profession because of all of the pressures that have been only multiplied with COVID. And I don't know that answer for myself. And that's kind of the point of stress as well, that I've been doing this for 5 years now. And in some ways I do think I've settled in and I could see myself enjoying this as a lifelong career. But whether I can maintain that over decades of time is not clear to me.